welcome back to the Simply Max channel. And let me just start off by telling you guys what a better time to be alive when there is constant F1, and that's where we are at right now. As some of you may know, right now is the Monaco Grand Prix. It will actually be starting in 1 hour with FP1, but I am recording this video so I can edit throughout the day to maybe hopefully release it before quali tomorrow. Yes, I know the pod wasn't as good quality as I wanted it to be in the last one, and I know I haven't been uploading, but don't worry, it's summer. I have more time in my hands. I can actually record reactions, I can actually stream, and all these things, so I am super excited. So guys, please support, and let's get started. Which team will do the best collectively? Now, I think Ferrari will be doing the best. The reason, let me just explain to you. So, we know Mercedes has been dominant throughout the whole season. But what has Ferrari been good at? Starts and corners, right? But with the new procedures to starts, everyone else has been catching up. But they are still excellent at the corners, especially the low speed corners. And Monaco is basically that. There's so many of those type of corners that I just think they will be able to excel and get the best times. Not only that, but I don't think Mercedes will be as dominant this Grand Prix than the other ones. And like I said before, it's because of the corners. There aren't that many straights, long straights in this track. So I think Ferrari will take their opportunity to be able to go up and surpass Mercedes, at least this weekend, because of the advantage they have in those speed corners. Not only that, but Charles Leclerc is also very, very exceptional in this track. I don't know if it's one of his best, but I know he's very good. Since he won, I think, 2024, and he has gotten many holes throughout his career in this track. And like I mentioned before, because of the straights, the power differential between Ferrari and the Mercedes will not matter that much because of the limited amount of straights. Now let's get on to the next topic, which is, will Mercedes do bad? And I'm kind of like questioning this myself, because I don't know if Toto has gone into and like talked more about it, I guess, to Kimi and George, because if we've seen in Canada, it was a very intense battle between Kimi and George. Very exciting battle, but a very intense battle. So if that continues, I can totally see them just one of them at least doing bad because of a crash, or maybe both being taken out. But the thing is, with Monaco, it's very hard to overtake, so I don't really know how that would play out. If you guys haven't seen throughout social media, I will put it in the screen right now. There's been a kind of mind games going on between George Russell and Kimi. How George Russell's saying it's basically Kimi's championship to lose, and then Kimi responding back with saying how can he lose something that he hasn't even won yet. So it definitely seems like things are still going intense, but we will see this weekend. Another contributing factor to maybe Mercedes doing bad is the fact that Ferrari can be doing very good, because I previously mentioned they're really good on the corners, on the low speed corners. So if they do good, and due to it being hard to overtake in Monaco, I think it may lead to Mercedes not doing as good as people would think, which means winning and maybe P2. And because, like I was saying, overtaking is difficult, qualifying is very important in Monaco. And if they aren't able to get the fast times because there's no long straights, then if they get stuck behind the Ferraris, I think it'll be very hard to overtake them, and maybe get stuck behind the other contenders such as McLaren and Red Bull. Okay, now let's get to our special topic. As you guys know, I am a Max Verstappen fan, so we always have to include Max Verstappen in some shape or form into each and every single one of our podcast videos. And so the new topic is, how will Max Verstappen do? Now we know Max Verstappen got podium in Canada and has been looking good in Miami with I think P5 or P4. I think it was P5 with George Russell P4. But they, at least he has been looking better in Red Bull right now. But we have to remind ourselves, why did he get podium in the first place? Well, George Russell had engine failures, and then McLaren had this strategy which totally backfired on them, which was starting at inters while everyone else started on the soft tires. Now, I do think he's been looking competitive, so I do expect some type of competition between the four starting teams. I even include Hatcher because he was looking pretty good as well, even being able to compete with Leclerc during Canada. But I do not expect any results either. I just expect it to be competitive. No expectations for any results, no expectations for any podiums, or even less a win. I just want it to be very competitive. And like I was saying with Mercedes, since qualifying is so important, and the pace of the Red Bull car not being as great as the other ones, it could provide issues during qualifying. If they make it out of Q3, because I've been seeing during like in social media many people predicting, oh, this team isn't going into Q3 or whatever. But if they get stuck behind the Mercedes, the McLaren, the Ferraris, then they'll be having issues because of the difficulty of overtaking. But as you guys know, I am a diehard Max Verstappen fan. As you see here, I even have his autograph and image of him. But I believe anything is possible if Max Verstappen is in that seat. So my prediction for Max Verstappen will be a P4. No podium, but I think he will beat out the other racers as we get into our predictions. Who will get pole in the Monaco Grand Prix? Now, as we were talking about the Ferraris being amazing, I think Charles Leclerc will get pole position. You know, he's very good in this circuit, and I think his experience with just this track and his experience in winning will just give him the boost of confidence to be able to perform greatly in this circuit. And we know he's good even in a bad car, as we saw in 2025 when he almost got pole position with a bad Ferrari car. And the only difference between 2025 and 2026 is that Ferrari's actually gotten better with their car because they're very good in the slow corners. And I think that will just give him the edge over anyone else. So, our top 3 of the Monaco Grand Prix. Now for P3, I have Charles Leclerc. Now, this may sound surprising, especially as I have him in pole, and especially since I've been rambling about how hard it is to overtake in this track. But I think there will just be mistakes that will carry on from the Canada Grand Prix, which he didn't look as good, or as good as he has been. And I think that mistake will cost him 2 spots. I think he'll be leading throughout a majority of the race, and then there will be a mistake, like maybe some slight oversteer or something like that. And I don't think he'll won't finish. I don't think he'll crash, but I do think there might be a mistake that will cause McLaren and the other Ferrari to be able to overtake. P2. Now, I might have spoiled it as I was explaining about Charles Leclerc, but I do have Oscar Piastri for P2 out of McLaren. Now, most people would have Lando Norris, but I just think Piastri will show everyone why he and Lando Norris deserve to be in the same conversation instead of Norris just being the number 1 driver. So yeah, I believe that Piastri will be the most competitive out of both McLarens, and I also put him at P2 because I didn't want a Ferrari 1-2. You know, I wanted there to be a little bit, maybe some overtakes and things like that, which would lead to an eventual McLaren P2. Now at P1, while this might be a hot take for a lot of people, I think Lewis Hamilton will edge it out to win the Monaco Grand Prix and make it his first Ferrari win. Yes, we know Charles Leclerc has superiority in this track. Yes, I know he probably seems like the better driver, but you can't forget that Lewis is still in the same car, which will lead him to be able to just take his 7th World Time Championship status. Like, he's still one of the best drivers of all time, if not the best driver of all time, depending who you ask. So I think he still has the experience. He's still good enough to be able to take that car, which is very good, especially for this track, and win and take over Ferrari's reigns for this weekend. So, yes, I think Lewis will surprise everyone in this Grand Prix, and I think he will show why he's still not going to retire and why he's still going to continue racing even at the age of 41. That'll be it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to follow Simply Max on every social media, which is only YouTube and Twitter right now, where I just post comments and things like that over the race live. So yeah, guys, don't forget to follow. Thank you guys so much for watching, and expect more content, more short content soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.